Hello.
What I wish y'all could see is what happens in between the takes, what happens behind the takes. We need a video camera to show that we are reading this book called Saving Your Marriage Before It Starts. Well,
You're trying to save it right now.
What happens when you saving your marriage while you're trying to do a video message about a book on saving your marriage?
Here we go.
There you go. If you need a book to... Okay, here we go. Ready? Okay, so hopefully you've enjoyed your first week. Hopefully you are making your way through the first chapter, question 1, which is really dissecting and asking the question, have you faced the myth of marriage with honesty? And again, everything is based on honesty of knowing where are we at this particular moment in time. We are bombarded with different things of this no filter, right? I remember Brent and I went and watched a movie, and the girl in this one shot, she woke up, and I think she took about 10-15 minutes of moving her coffee cup and the blinds and everything like that to take a picture. And then, when she submitted it, excuse me, it said, no filter, right?
Hashtag
no filter, right? And I think that's how a lot of people live their life. And of course, we are subject to that as well. But again, this idea of honesty. Where is it that our marriage is? Is it where we want it to be? And I think through this book, it's going to be a healthy dose of you asking those questions independently as well as together of where are we? Where do we want to be? And yes, those affirmational statements can be great of yes, that's where we're going to be and we're projecting. And yes, but I think again, honesty is determining where are we? In order to get from A to B, we have to understand that we're at point A first. Mm-hmm. And so, again, Brent and I, we've come a long, long way in a lot of ways. And we're going to talk a little bit about the different frames. But for this time, we really wanted to dive in and really talk about myth 4, which is my spouse will make me whole. Sorry, I'll get it together. My spouse will make me whole. And I think a lot of people go into marriage thinking this perspective of all the hurts and traumas, wounds, and inconsistencies that I've had in life, that on that day of saying I do, that the prince and the princess are going to ride off into the sunset on the white horse, which the authors talk about.
But we did.
Oh, we did?
Yeah.
No, we rode off on the
Chevy truck.
Yeah, but
57 Chevy.
And it wasn't really this. Yeah, okay.
It was wild.
Okay. Well, there's a theory out there in counseling theories within marriage that typically individuals can and perhaps do marry individuals that remind them of the parent that they had the most issues with in their upbringing. And why that is because they're deep down wanting to resolve their childhood issues with the person that they married. Well, hopefully, as you are processing this, you can see the complications and the frictions and the unresolved that can take place by trying and attempting to resolve friction and issues with your spouse when really everything it took place and happened from a parent. And so everything that they possibly say to everything that they possibly do can be seen through and filtered through the lenses that we see our spouse and hear our spouse, can come through how we view that parent that we had so much friction with early on in life. And so again, do we have a myth as we came into marriage, or possibly still have, that our spouse will make us whole? And so we're really going to dissect the different frames that the authors talk about, this A frame, this H frame, and this M frame, and determine with honesty where are we and where do we want to move and get to.
And with these frames, as you've read in the book, the A frame focuses on dependence upon each other. The H frame focuses on independence, and the M frame is interdependence. And that's really our heart and our passion for each of you, as well as our marriage,
sure,
to be at that healthy place where, yes, you depend on each other for things, but if something were to go awry, your life wouldn't completely end. And I know for us, we've kind of gone in and out of phases of life through each of these frames. mainly early on in our dating relationship, more so than our marriage, because Brady, he was my first boyfriend at the age of 21. And so I was used to being alone, independent, doing my own thing. And so when he came along, I was like, oh, okay, I've got to share my time. I've got to share my thoughts. I've got to do a lot of sharing. But I still wanted to kind of follow my own path. But as time went on, that dependence on him grew in my heart. Aww, Lovey. And so we got closer and closer. But then as we got to the point of marriage, and as he was saying, you kind of potentially marry someone that looks similar to your parents or someone in your life. And so looking at both of our parents' relationships and at what stage they're in, it's kind of amazing to see the unhealth. And yes, there's a lot of health, but still, I know personally for my parents, they are a A-frame. I mean, there's so much dependence on each other that to a point it's kind of scary, the thought of their future if something were to happen to one of them. And I know I don't want that for us, but I want us to be able to live in this moment and have that interdependence of health where we can really work together, make decisions together, and just be strong.
Sure. I guess she's looking at me like I'm supposed to say something next. I thought I already did my part. But yes, I think it kind of goes back to assessing where you are to where you want to be. But honestly, that self-reflecting time through this week of looking at the material is determine what are the different myths. Did you go into marriage thinking one or multiple of the myths? And again, if we don't have a healthy expectation about what things are going to be, they can almost be kind of a sucker punch in the stomach and kind of take your breath away a little bit. And it leaves you dazed and trying to determine, okay, where do we determine how to move forward as a result? And so again, if we can take these differing myths, I know that we spent our time today talking about myth 4 and these differing frames, but really going through this entire week and looking at all 4 myths that they talk about and determine where were we, where are we, and where do we want to end during our time, not only with this group, but even moving forward throughout the rest of this year, and even projecting onto next year, growing stronger independently as well as dependently upon each other, just as that M-frame talks about within the book. And as a result of that, becoming healthier physically, emotionally, and spiritually, simultaneously integrated as one, just as you are one with your spouse. So,
and I know just with like this group, we are focusing on our marriage, but we are also focusing on our nutrition and our fitness and just our overall health. And I know a couple of years ago when I really decided to start this journey, I was working out on my own, slowly starting to change our nutrition, and I was kind of doing it alone. And it does make it harder when you aren't both on board. And so when Brady finally got on board and we decided to make this a whole family experience, it became so much easier and just encouraging to be able to get up and work out together, and to know that when I created a new recipe that's, you know, with vegetables we never ate before, that he's willing to try them and he's open to it. And so on this journey, we really want to encourage you, just as you're looking at these frames, look at every area of your life and see, 1, where you've been, 2, where you're at, and if you're not at that M, what are some steps that you can take to help y'all get to that M frame for your marriage and your life, so that you can be healthy just as a whole.
Yeah, absolutely.
So this is the rest of chapter 1. Hope that y'all read through it. There will be a challenge in this post to you. So we look forward to hearing some feedback about y'all, since we gave a little snippet of where we are in the frames.
Absolutely.
And just look forward to hearing from each of you and where you are with your marriage.
All right. Enjoy your day.